We are here to bring you everything and anything surrounding Porsche. I'm Mike.
I'm Aaron.
And this is P-Car Talk. Welcome to P-Car Talk. I'm Mike.
And I'm Aaron.
We're back from our drive, right?
We are back.
Amazing trip. Wish we were still there.
Yeah, do.
Not here.
Mm.
As bad as that sounds.
It's hard to drive slow.
Being totally selfish, it was life-changing in a very positive way. I could see how people really get addicted to being up there on a regular basis because I think I've been bitten by that bug. And now, I'm not going to say like overly zealous, but realistically, I'd love to spend maybe go up there like once every 2 months or something like that would be, for 3 days would be nice. And it's not that ridiculous of a drive to do, to get up there. I mean, what are some of the takeaways that you can think of that you were?
I would say that roads on a map and versus roads when you get there, it's crazy. Like you think it's going to be one way and it's even better than what you expect. And it's a lot of driving. I mean, no matter what, you have to drive to get to the roads. You got to drive, stop, gas. I mean,
Secret sauce is drive during the weekday, right? Not on the weekends, because we spent one on the weekday and then one on the weekend, and there was a drastic difference between the two. We could be a lot more spirited during the week because there wasn't anybody really out there.
And we're spirited anyways. But
I mean, we were still doing our thing on Saturday, don't get me wrong, but we had some roadblocks in our way, right?
Yeah.
Needless
like
to
Toyota
say.
Camrys.
Yeah. Just out there sightseeing, which is odd because there's nothing to really see because there's a lot of dense brush and like trees and it's all canopied up. So you're not really, even if you go slow, you're looking at nothing but just green. Like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, maybe where they're from that doesn't get green or has a river right next to all of it. Yes, not.
But I mean, on someone like the ones like Charahal, I get it because there are pull-offs with mountaintops and stuff like that. I get that. Maybe some like sightseers are out there for doing that. But you almost think that they built those roads just to go drive on, right?
And it definitely feels like it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know that all those roads seem like they should be driven at good pace. I think it would even be it'd be fun to do that 441. Like even where there was congestion, if it happened to be free, it was a beautiful place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like that in the middle of the week, if there was nobody there, that would be amazing. So we got in. You and I got in on Wednesday.
Yep.
Day before everybody else. We did a little bit of loose scouting and driving, taking it easy, just kind of seeing what it was like.
Picked a road in the middle of the map and said, let's go.
It was pretty dead. So, thinking back for next year, we're definitely going to do middle of the week. So just full disclaimer, anybody who plans on going, plan for that because it'll probably be check in on Wednesday, drive on a Thursday, drive on a Friday. And if you feel like leaving on Saturday, you can. And I think we're going to make that a free day / leisure day. If you want to continue to drive, if you want to just hang out in the town, drink, eat, hang out with friends, go down the river and tubing and all that other stuff, that's an option as well. Or do like an early morning run and come back. Or again, I'm giving you options. That's why I'm calling it a free day. And if you are going to drive that day, probably get it done really, really early and didn't come back because we found out we had our moments where we could get some free time, but we definitely did have to work to get those free moments later in the day on Saturday. Yeah. So it's probably better off driving during the week. So if you can't get off, I guess you're not going. I mean, you got to dedicate yourself. And I think once you've gone once or twice, and if you've ever been up that way, it's worth the time to take off to do it. So we appreciate everybody who ended up coming. It was a tight group. I mean, I think we can go ahead and make the announcement right now, right? Like it's not going to ever be more than 25, 30 cars.
Yeah, that's pretty much going to be it.
This is not going to be, and I'm not going to name them because I don't have there's no bias and we're not saying it's the wrong way. We're just the way we want to do it. These ones that have 100+ car rallies and stuff like that, we're not about that.
Well, I mean, and again, we have to understand that that's not the only thing we do. I think some of those guys, that's the only thing they do. This happens to be, we like driving. It's the podcast, it's driving, it's everything we like to do. We're adding it into our.
Yeah. Well, I think for me, I don't think it's just, I don't think it has anything to do with, and it's a slippery slope, so I don't want to get into like why they have that many cars or any of that kind of stuff. But just from a pure fun standpoint, and what Aaron and I are talking about is being on these rallies and seeing them in person and doing them. Essentially, when you have that many cars, I don't care how many groups you break them up into, it gets into a bottleneck situation. The logistics turn into a nightmare. The whole goal is to build camaraderie and fun. I think less is more with everything in life is one of those type of situations. So if you have less people, it's probably going to be more fun. And I know there's probably some type of monetization purpose for the reason of the amount of cars, and that's not why we're doing this. We're not doing it for monetary reasons. We're doing it for the members to have fun. And at the end of the day, we want to build what we talked about from the beginning, more of a family type of situation. And when you have less cars, you have more time to get in people and talk to people and get to know people instead of saying, "Oh, hey, yeah, I saw you the other day. Cool car," and move on.
On Wednesday, and I haven't seen you until
when you
Saturday.
Where you can actually get to know somebody's first name and hang out and stuff like that instead of not getting lost in a sea of 100 cars, or going with your 3 friends and you only talk to your 3 friends even though you're on a 100-car rally. Like, that defeats the purpose too. So when you have like 25 or 30 people, it almost kind of forces people to mingle with each other. And we kind of want that. We want people to build a brother and sisterhood. Like the mingle factor high. Yeah, the brotherhood, the sisterhood of it. And also at the end of the day, when you're doing lunches and you're doing gas stops and you're doing all that stuff, when you have a smaller group of people, you're better off, because when you try to daisy chain even a group of 20 or 30 cars together, because even if we have 25 cars, we're going to break that group up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to run 20 cars together. That's ridiculous too. I mean, we ran probably 7 or 8 cars, and that in a group, was enough, basically. So we're probably going to run at least 2 groups if we get that many cars. So basically just like talking to you guys about what we learned. And, if you guys want to ever do this on your own, it's fine too. Like, some secrets of the trade, if you want to go up with your friends, don't go on a weekend, because that's when everybody goes. Go during the week.
That was one of our other things too, is even though we're going to have 30 and we're going to have groups, you don't have to stay with our group. If you don't want a group drive, you're still going to have where we're going to be for lunch and stuff. So.
If you want to break off and you bring your significant other and you guys want to go sightsee, that's okay too. Everybody had that option. It wasn't like, hey, this is the deadline, we're leaving at this time. If you're not with us, well, tough luck. Yeah. It wasn't like that. And this isn't the kind of, everybody stayed together.
Yeah.
But I think just because everybody wanted to stay together because it was fun, like when we would have our pit stops and we would talk and stuff, it's like, you're sharing the stories about like, man, you got really squirrely on that last one. It's like, oh yeah, man, I was all over the place, man. And man, did you see this and you see that? So you're kind of having a debrief without the day even being over. So it's kind of nice.
And the rain didn't stop us. That was another thing too. Just because if it's, we use judgment on it, but it was wet out there. We still did things.
On day 1, it was a little wet, but then it dried up, and
that's the other thing too. It dried up halfway throughout the day. Yeah. And so it turned out to be a really spectacular day.
Yeah, and the nice part about it is the rain probably spooked some people off. So it's like we really did get the roads to ourselves while we were up there. So that was pretty interesting. Again,
that's also another planning thing. We shouldn't have rain next time.
Yeah. We're going to go later in the year. We did it in August. Again, originally this was April. We were supposed to do this. Yeah. But because of COVID, we ended up pushing it back. I'm glad we still had our event. Like all these other events, it's still like canceling or pushing back to another year. We were safe the whole time. Everybody, we wore masks and did whatever we needed to do. We social distance. But again, there wasn't that many of us. Everybody had their own room. So it wasn't that big of a deal. And it seemed like where we stayed
every
at
state
too,
was a little different too.
Yeah. In those areas, they're not really too concerned up there, it seems like. So there's that as well. But all in all, it was a great trip. I know everybody went on it is coming back next year. And I'm not saying this from a marketing standpoint. I'm just being honest with everybody who's listening who wants to go next year. Everybody who signed up this year gets first dibs. And what we mean by that is you're probably going to get a notice 2 or 3 weeks before it goes out to the general membership. And we get everybody where there's full access, and those people are going to get an opportunity to sign up beforehand. That's kind of our thank you to them for stepping up to the first one. And whatever remainder slots are left open is what's going to be open to the public, essentially. So And we did have 12 people sign up. So if those same 12 people sign up again, it's going to leave us with about 13 spots. So you can do the math.
Yep.
You know, and we may stretch it to 30 depending on, I guess, the interest, right? So if those fill up right away,
we'll gauge it.
Yeah, maybe we'll open up 5 more slots and we'll tell people about it, and then you guys can take it from there if you guys want to sign up or not. And then that's really is the max. Not if once we get to 30, we'll be like, hey, we're going to do 5 more. We're not like that. Like it's
we can't do it.
Like maybe we'll do the 5 car buffer almost like we talked about. Like we'll do 25 if that fills really fast and we have months and months before we go, and there's some people that still really want to go and we're close to those people. We'll say, okay, we'll open it up for 5 more, but if you don't get in on these 5 that are open up, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I mean, having a ton of cars seems like a great idea, and it is for a car meet, but it's not when you conceptually start doing all these dinners. It just makes for a terrible experience around the board.
It does
for everybody. Even if you're broken up into groups, then you got to find your restaurants. Okay,
exactly.
That one's full. Okay, next.
And then everybody's eating by themselves and like different little groups of pockets of stuff. And that's not what this is supposed to be about. At least not our culture behind what we're doing for our thing is not that way. We're not speaking for everybody else. We're just speaking for us. We don't want to create that kind of culture. Like what we want to do is we want to kind of like stick everybody together. We want to be able to go to dinner together. We want to be able to go drive together. Like that's the whole purpose of us getting together for this weekend, because we're all club members. So when we're part of the club, I want to get to know the other club members. I don't want to go, oh, you're here this weekend? Thanks for showing up. I didn't even speak to you or see you all weekend. Like I don't want it to be that way. So, and I think when you scale it so big, it turns into that. And we don't ever want it to be that way. So I don't think it's, don't ever say never, but like seriously, I really, Aaron and I aren't doing this for the money sake of it. Like we're really doing it for the fun sake and the brotherhood and the sisterhood of it. And people brought their wives, which was great too. Yeah. And the ladies got to hang out, and there was more than one of them, and that was appreciative. They enjoyed their time, and they hung out, and they were part of the group, and they loved the roads as well. And we encourage you, like you can bring a passenger, just make sure they bring some motion sickness pills.
One's trying to get her GT car ready.
Yeah, I mean passenger in the car, 2 of them actually. Yeah.
That's true,
yeah, 2 of them are going to buy GT cars, it looks like. So just from the trip riding shotgun. So, there you go. So you're going to have some sisters in there like trying to fight it out with you.
Purple RS, yeah. Hope to see.
And like I said, if you do come next year and you bring a passenger, I don't care if you go like, oh, they never get motion sickness. Just bring it just in case. Take it in the morning, because once you have it, you're not making it go away. So,
it's not like, oh, I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and then we ended up, like I said, we drove Friday, and there'd be a lot of footage coming from this as well. Yeah. Like Aaron's putting together, and like we have some other great driving footage from the other drivers, some different perspectives and all that kind of stuff. And it's going to be really, really good stuff. We got some drone footage. It's going to be outstanding. You're going to get to see what you missed, and I really hope that you get to be a part of it if you're a club member at some point. If it's not this year, maybe the next year, because Aaron and I are planning on doing it every year. So I hope at some point you do get to participate in it. Yeah. And I know there's already people that are sworn regulars. And we just started. So
there was that, and then it was crazy about. I mean, I know we talked about it a lot, and we don't like tooting our own horns or whatever you want to call it. A lot about things just to get people to go on the drive. But as soon as we're like, oh, we're here, everybody was like, bro would have went. Bro would have showed up. Bro would have been here.
Why didn't you tell me it was going to be in Helen? Why don't you? It's like, and these people aren't club members. I'm calling them out. Like, they're like, oh man, I would have known. I wish I would have known.
Well,
the whole point of being a club member is so you are in the know.
And I think that
this
helps.
Isn't a public thing for everyone. Yeah. What we're doing right now, the public podcast, is for everyone.
Yeah. And that helps. It helps build another, I guess, inner circle within the circle.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the real approach is more military style. If you really look at it the way we do things, because you might be part of a certain branch, but then within that you're at your own little your unit.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it. And honestly, at the end of the day, there's some people who listen that are club members or that aren't interested in driving that way, and that's cool too. But I'm calling out all the people who want to drive that way or think they can drive that way or want to go and experience a great weekend. You should come. You really should. And
all paces are welcome.
Yeah. No skin off our backs, right? Like, because we're not the ones who lost on this. The people who didn't go are the ones who lost. That's the way I look at it.
That was good. I mean, and And planning it seemed like, oh man, it was kind of taking like what roads go here, what matches up, okay, what is this restaurant, and then it was cool, everything, and we even did some stuff on the fly because we had resident experts, as we call them.
Well, big shout out to Chris. I mean, we might as well just give it. He led the group. He's a Smokies GT veteran. He has a lot of track miles on his GT3, and he's familiar with the roads up there. And him leading us was like instrumental on the way we ended up driving, because he inspired confidence in everybody down the line because he knows the roads. So being able to trailer him around is a big difference, because when your lead dog is the one out there setting the pace, setting the pace,
sure helps.
At least it helps every car behind him, and that helped the other guys following him that drove really, really hard, and it helped me driving hard behind the guy that I was following. So that just daisy chains down the line. Yeah. And if that's what you want to drive spirited, that's what we did. And it was so exciting.
It was cool too, because I mean, it helped us know that we had a route that was worth it, because we barely changed anything. I mean, Chris was like, hey, we should just maybe do this on this day, and which we already had planned. We had more of the road. Like, we didn't have some of those things. We didn't know we were missing part of the road.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we're starting here. Okay, well, he's like, here's the rest of it. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Exactly.
And then Chad, I mean, he helped out too. We were in the foothills. We did more of that.
Exactly. He knew that area really well, because he rides motorcycles there. So that was helpful. So, I mean, it just got better and better.
Next year's going to be
out of control, right?
Ridiculous.
What's going to help us too, like now we've seen the roads a little bit. Yep. So we're going to feel a little bit more confident. So it'll be good. Hopefully you're going to get your brakes taken care of, and you're going to get some more brakes so you can go a little harder, put some more sway bars in your car.
Oh, sway bars are definitely, I think I actually need to I'm running like a street setup for the coilovers, and so it's just too soft. And you can hear it. When I was watching back the footage last night, I can hear I'm scrubbing. Like, my inner fender wells have to be like really, really messed up.
Yeah.
I was like, you could just hear it. Just scrub every time. It was super turned in. So, I mean, they're on like medium.
Yeah.
You probably dial them up a little bit.
Yeah, you got a little bit of time. I already ordered a carbon fiber strut tower bar for the 996 turbo. Nice. My car didn't flex a lot, but it does help. Like in the 964, I have one in it, and it helps that front rigidity a lot. So I ordered one for that last night. Just trying to, I'm already prepping for next year.
Encouraging.
I already made an appointment to get the front bumper resprayed.
Okay.
Because I chipped it up. However, after that's resprayed, then I'm going to go take the whole front clip to our friends at Presidential and get PPF'd on it for next year. So work a deal with them, and we're doing the whole front half of the car. So, because there were some rock showers that happened.
Oh yeah, if you were anywhere,
and that's on me. I mean, like I said, I've only had the car for 4 months. I probably should have already had a PPF the front at least, but I didn't do it. Whatever, it's not that big of a deal.
Those Cup 2s just showering everyone with rock.
Exactly. So all in all, I mean, and I'll tell you what, our buddy Chad, he runs a 996 turbo with like a rear wheel drive converted, and that dude drove the nuts off of that car. Like, he was safe. Up.
It was like, it's not a bike.
The GT3's asses, and we're talking new ones, 18s, 15s, and he was all over them. And
brave man.
Man, I was like, I couldn't believe how well he was driving out there. Not that has a bad skill set. Like, he's had some track days in that car. But I'm just surprised how well that car did up there.
Yeah.
I know it's a turbo car, it has power, but like the way it handled, that thing just squatted around every corner.
Those Olins.
I was thinking that car was going to like get loose. It didn't get loose on him, even when it was wet.
Yep.
Like,
and he wasn't even running.
And he doesn't even have rear steer like the GT3s.
Yeah, that's true.
And he was running with them, no problem. And then they let him get out front a couple times, and he set the pace. And I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Like,
this guy, this
dude is on fire, man. Yeah, steel brakes, like going after it, man.
And believe me, I mean, well, it showed too. You can see where his polished fixies were.
Yeah,
were gunmetal gray at the end.
Yeah, it was just, it was impressive all the way around how well everybody did, and
well, they didn't inspire confidence in your Turbo S, where you're like, man, I could be pushing just a little bit.
100%. Like, after I saw him doing that stuff, and I'm like, I know my skill set, and like I drive the 964. I was running with GT3s in the 964 in the corners at Homestead.
But yeah, so much time behind it.
Yeah, exactly. It's a time factor. Like, I have 5 years in that car. I've got 4 months in the 996. So I was being careful. But I think next month, I mean, not next, I wish it was next month. Next year, when we're up there. I think it will be a totally different ball game for myself as far as like confidence with the car.
Did you notice any of the it's all-wheel drive? Did you notice any of that, or was it really not a factor?
I actually only noticed the front breaking loose a couple of times actually on hard turning on the wet surfaces, but like PSM would kick in or something like that, but just once or twice. But yeah, not really. It didn't really hinder me at all. I didn't feel it like any strange or anything like that. So yeah, no.
So you don't need to go GT2 style like Chad?
I don't really plan on it, to be honest with you. I don't think. I mean, that car doesn't. For what it is, I don't want to like basically start taking stuff off of it, because if it ever moves out of my garage, I don't have to put all that crap back on it.
That's true.
So that's the kind of way I'm kind of approaching it.
So by next year, you have something different. That's cool.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Yeah, I tell you what, I was definitely seriously shopping GT cars. Sunday night when I got home, I am not joking. Like I got on the couch and I started surfing GT3s. Like,
I don't think you're alone in that.
Not manuals. I was looking at 14, 15, 16 paddle shift cars. I was like, all right, this is gonna be my mountain car. Is what I started calling it. You gotta get
newer than a 14 though.
Yeah, exactly. Or unless it's got a G block on it. But yeah, I was like, holy shit, I am thinking about. Already, I'm like, you can't move that car already. You just got it. Like, can't sell it already.
But if I did,
if I do, full disclaimer, it's going to be like a 15 or 16 GT3, 100%. That's what's happening next.
Well, you just realize the capabilities in those cars and how it just
Well, I just know that I enjoy that kind of driving, and I'll probably start doing a lot more of it, especially if I have something that's a little bit more dialed for that type of driving.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys were on.
I want to get seats.
Rails
seats too for me would probably be nice. I noticed I was moving around a little bit. That's not as much as I thought it would be, but I was moving around the car.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah, you need brakes. You need. Need probably sway bars.
Yeah, for sure, sway bars, which I didn't until you guys were like, "Hey."
Yeah, so, we're looking at pictures of your car like flexed.
You see where
look
it's
at
like
your car.
Tweaked.
You're like, and you're like totally on the side. And you're like, oh yeah, look at that body roll on that thing. And everybody else's car is like flat.
Yeah, even Andrew's 993 was like
flat,
super flat. I was like, well, that's interesting, because we were going the same pace.
Yeah,
but he was
all right. So that's kind of the debrief on. I
just got the cage. Well, I'm getting cage pictures soon. I got 88 pictures. If any doesn't have any idea what size those wheels are.
Yeah,
those might have.
Yeah, the cage will actually help stiffen you up too.
Yeah.
Like it'll stiffen the chassis. So you need to stiffen your chassis up for sure. 100% on your car, and brakes.
Big old ceramic brakes, just like Mike.
Yeah, I don't know if you need to go ceramic, but you need bigger. You need bigger. You need bigger pistons, or more pistons, I should say. You need more piston calibers, and probably
something more confident.
Bigger rotor.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then I mean, you need to make sure you don't talk about it, be about it.
I'm gonna.
The 11th hour next year. It's like, I'm gonna see you in July next year and be like, yeah, so I'm looking at brakes. I'm be like, fucking trip is in like 2 months. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're looking at brakes. Like, they should have been on the car already. Oh, well, I had a year, so
almost there.
Fucking waiting the last damn minute to do it. Not even bedded, no comfortability with them, no idea. Just go up there, brand new brakes. Like, well, we'll figure it out while we're up here, I guess.
Oh, sideways. Weird.
Yeah. But enough about that. It was a great weekend. We just want to dedicate some time to that and tell you guys about it. And I really hope.
Would you want to do any more roads than we did? I mean, we did quite a few.
I enjoyed every road we did. I don't know if we need any more. I mean, we drove 10 to 12 hours every day that we were there. I think that was plenty. I think getting up at sunrise and driving almost to sundown was perfect. Like, I don't think we need to be driving at night.
No.
But
I heard about some of that.
Yeah, but I think it was a perfect amount of what we had. I think everybody had an outstanding time. The lunch stops were good, and we just got to get a couple things dialed in for dinner stuff, and I think we're golden. So we'll work all that out behind the scenes.
And the wet and the dry.
Yeah, exactly. We have a wet lap and a dry lap time on those, so that's pretty good.
That was interesting.
But yeah. Anyways, great footage coming. Yeah. So stay tuned to the YouTube channel for that. it's going to be epic. And I'm sure Aaron's going to put it on the website too as our like club like intro. I'm sure he'll break something off of that and just put some like little like 2-minute thing together to see if you want to sign up next year and you are a club member, to see kind of what it is like, to be able to see what you can see. That way, you can actually get a feel of what's involved. Before we go to break, let's go ahead and thank Lori Crawford one more time for sponsoring this month's giveaway. She did
East Lake Realty.
Exactly. Porsche design watch that was given away yesterday to Nick G.
Oh, Nick.
She's just been a great sponsor of the show. This is the second time she's sponsored. She sold my house in under 30 days at full asking. In the mix of Rona. So like it can be done.
That's crazy.
So it just depends on what market. Fortunately for us, we were in an area where our house was a very desirable area, and the house was a very nice house as well.
You were already getting like offers within hours.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, I got an offer.
Which is really, really nice. So if you've ever been in the home selling process, you know how trying that can be. So she made it as quick as possible and as painless as possible and made it happen. And because of her expertise, we sold her house really fast. So I want to thank her once again. And she's also a great sponsor of the show. So thanks you to Lori. And let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll talk about Porsche's under investigation.
Dun, dun, dun.
Not good. Thank you guys listening to PCAR Talk so much. We appreciate you guys so much. I can't say that enough. Check us out on YouTube. We release videos on Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Help support the channel. Everything we're doing is trying to bring the community closer together. We definitely appreciate that. Also, when you go onto YouTube, if you could subscribe, maybe pass it along, make a comment. We really appreciate that. Again, circling back to pcartalk.com. There is a newsletter created on there. Please put your information in there. That way we can keep you up to date on anything that's coming forward and anything that we're going to be doing moving forward and all the exciting things that are coming out. Now back to the show. All right, we're back from break. So Porsche is under investigation for emissions reporting on cars. Remember that whole Volkswagen crap?
You don't say.
Here we go. So a little background on this. During that scandal, Porsche's actually was fined also in that, if people don't remember that. They were fined $459 million.
Was it for their diesel Cayennes?
It didn't get into why, but it said in their part of the scandal, they were fined $459 million. That was just referring back to that point. So now this new scandal, I wouldn't call it a scandal because Porsche self-identified.
Yeah, which is good for them.
Yeah, we'll get into that a little bit towards the end of this. And I have some theories behind that because I used to do like auditing and all that stuff. So there's a couple reasons why this, why they self-reported. So the emissions reporting and the issues with the cars are Porsche Panameras and 911s made from 2008 to 2013. So it's some types of engine software, some fraudulent type stuff, very Volkswagen similar, probably when it's on the dyno emissions, when they're testing the car, when you turn the front wheel, then it starts to like smog out or something like that. Does this explain
DC's drag times?
Yeah, I don't know. However, they are under investigation, but like I said, they self-reported to the German authorities regarding this. Let's talk about this a little bit in detail here. And I'm going to go ahead and say this piece, and then we'll get some of your thoughts behind this. So anyone who self-reports in any type of situation when there's like, they know they're up for review, or there's other two things. You either know they already know, but they haven't come down with any type of sanctions yet.
Mm-hmm.
So then you come forward, so it looks like you're telling on yourself to kind of save face. So they kind of take it easier on you. Or two, they looked at this because if you think about it, that's 2013. So obviously they kind of knew that there was no way long-term that this wasn't going to come out. Somebody evaluated this and said that we can no longer, this is going to come out regardless, whether they know or not. So we probably should just bite the bullet on this. So those are probably the two of the scenarios on this. Now, what are your thoughts on this?
Why now? That's probably a good question. Why didn't it come out the first time? But then it may not have been. You think they might have found out that initial, because they had to do a look at all their catalog. I doubt that they would have just looked at that specifics back in the day when they got fined. for what Volkswagen was under the diesel investigation. I couldn't believe that they would just go, okay, we're gonna check everything we run diesel in. That's it. Let's take the slap on the wrist there. But also, those cars are so old. I mean, so much older and almost out of model date. Why would it matter?
Yeah.
That would be my thought. I mean,
well, it matters because it's fraudulent.
Well, I mean, okay, yeah.
So
there's that.
Yeah.
But at this point, it's been this long and nobody's addressed it.
Yeah. I mean, there's that thought behind it. My thought is, like, remember what was happening around 2008? You know, it was kind of in a recession.
Yeah.
So I think maybe these cars, they were happy to sell cars during that time.
Yeah, I guess you would be happy to sell cars.
So I think, but to go back to why now, I think it goes back to those things that I said beforehand. Is I think they think it's going to come out at some point. So as far as like why now, who knows why internally. However, maybe now as opposed to later, and getting caught is the way maybe they're approaching it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you better that you catch it than somebody else going, hey, look what Porsche's doing.
Yeah. So the next question is interesting, though, is remember what Volkswagen had to do with all of those cars? They had to bring them all back, right?
Yeah, do the buybacks.
And crush them, sell them, whatever the hell they wanted to do. You know, basically just had to get them back from people to kind of, because basically I sold you something, I misrepresented what I sold you.
So the ability to
so by law, if you want it from an ethical standpoint, you had to retract the product that I sold you and compensate me for it. Like you said, I want to circle back to that. These cars are so old. Does Porsche, if you own an 08 911 or Panamera or something in that time frame, is there a buyback for that? Is there, because now you've been duped as a customer if you've owned that car this entire time or not? Like, is there any repercussion there? Or is this kind of a, hey, gee whiz, we're going to slap ourselves on the hand. Just want to tell everybody that we screwed around with the software and we were cheating emissions during this time. Like, what's the fallout from this? Because we're looking at cars that are as old as 12 years old and as new as 7 years old here. So they're pretty old cars.
I think the Volkswagen buyback just ended like a couple of years ago. And those were 2012, all the way up to 2012. And I think, but before that, I mean.
But I think that was not because of lack of offer. I'm saying like there's like I said, there's an investigation happening, so there's no course of action yet.
Yeah, so there's probably years.
That was based off of customer like getting the stuff back in because of the rollout. Things take time. I just wonder. I know we're totally speculating on this, but do you think that's even going to be an option?
I doubt it. I doubt they would do that. I think they would maybe
just compensate people.
Yeah, update the software and then compensate whatever that fine is.
And if you were the original, but what I'm saying, would you even compensate the customer?
Well, yeah,
because essentially you defrauded them.
Yeah, they would have to be the original owners, I would imagine. I wouldn't think you would be just because you have it now. But then on the other side of that, there was current owners of those Volkswagens that still got compensated.
Mm-hmm.
So
who knows? And I mean, I guess it turns into one of those like ethical situations, right? Where do you now? I mean, let's be honest. Some of these cars have probably changed hands multiple times.
Yeah.
So
there's enough time.
There's enough. Well, I'm saying there's so much gray area now. Who do you compensate? The guy who doesn't own the car that originally bought it 5 years, like, and hasn't owned it for 5 years.
And maybe that's how they get out of not compensating anybody. They just get the charge
and just get fined by the EPA on it or whatever, and just move on and like, just say, "Hey, sorry, we screwed up, and we won't do it again," or you know what's going on.
Well, now we're gonna do more internal audits, more regularly.
Yeah, this is what we've done. Like, so in this situation, I'm sure you know this as well. Not only when you self-report, you actually have to come with course correction as well. Like, this is what we're going to do to prevent this from happening again, and this is what has happened.
So now we're doing it every month.
Exactly.
And then we're going to report it to X executive, and then
we have a third-party company coming in.
More likely,
yeah.
Like, we had Audi coming in,
watching us, watching our software on our cars to make sure that we're not like doing any tomfoolery with things. And we've been doing that since X amount of day, whatever. That's how you do that, and when you're being audited or whatever's happening. Do you think this is going to impact the brand at all?
I don't know. I mean, it's going to be a story. I don't know that people stop buying cars because of it.
Yeah, I mean, Volkswagen's still strong.
Yeah, if not stronger than they were.
Yeah.
And the Taycan's something to point at if they really want to get emissions wise.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're going that direction. They see that. I don't know if this is like, hey, by the way, this is something we found. We'll pay our fine. We're going electric anyways.
Yeah, I think the only way this is going to hurt Porsche is actually in their wallet.
Yeah.
I think they're just going to pay a fine, and I think that's it. Like, I don't think there's going to be any type of like car fallout from it, because I think the people who buy their cars, and let's be honest, I've never known a Porsche person to buy a car because it does really good on emissions or anything like that, or
it's not my first statistic that I'm going for.
No, that they're not that pollution. I mean, not saying that, you know, they don't care about the environment, but what I'm getting at is most of the people that I know, maybe it's just because of the circles we travel in, they're running race fuel. They're running, you know what I mean? So, if you are a Porsche person that does like on leaning on the left side, maybe you're buying the hybrid anyway. So this is a non-factor for you.
Yeah.
So, or full EV, right?
It's true. And I think that's going to be their answer really long term. Like, hey, cool, we'll audit this until we don't have combustion engines anymore.
And I just thought it was interesting to bring up because it was so matter of the fact, you know, it's very similar. They already paid a fine back when this happened, like I said, for 459 million. But I think it's unique to announce that. And the weird thing about this too, of all the cars that they make, well, the thing about they make, you know, a lot of different cars, even during that time frame. I mean, they're making the Cayman, the Boxster, they're making a Cayenne, you know, during that time frame. There's a Macan that's out during that time frame, but it's specific to Porsche Panameras and 911s. Interesting. I don't know, but who knows?
So we need that power. They need to power those V8s, and they need to power those.
And honestly, it didn't get into the details of saying whether this was a Euro only situation or if this was a worldwide situation. Because
Euro only would kind of make sense in the fact, just they're pretty strict.
That's what I was thinking too, because, you know, in the U.S., not that, you know, in 08, or like these cars, I mean, these weren't diesel cars like that they're discussing. I mean, they didn't say that, but I mean, they don't have a diesel 911, so that's easy to rule out. So it's definitely not that. I find
that's where they would definitely get fined too, just with all the green emissions at least Germany has, and then but how seriously all that's taken over there. That's where that would make sense. Yeah,
who knows? I just thought it was interesting to bring up. Yeah, we'll see. More to come on that. It's developing as we speak, so they're under investigation. So we'll see what happens. Apparently, they're all guilty. We all know that. Even Mercedes-Benz. You know what I mean? They're all guilty. Yep. They were all doing it.
We're just awesome to report it.
Yeah, exactly. Self-identifying. All right, let's move on. New 911 GT3RS 992.
Yeah.
Possibly being spied.
Most giant gooseneck rear spoiler I've ever seen in my life.
So I think the thing is, everybody's focusing on that, right? And
it's so big. How can you not focus on it?
Yeah, it's in your face. But I think what everybody's like really, really not talking about in all these spy photos is actually the box flares on the car.
So one thing I learned.
It looks just like the damn RSR.
So something I learned, and something Misha said, and I don't know if it's how true it is. The RS cars, you know, those ducts in the front, there is no more frunk. They totally took out the frunk. There is no space at all. It is full ducting.
Yeah.
That's insane. It is like this. It's going to be like the RSR.
Yeah, the RSR car is what you're referring to, right?
No, just the GT3RS.
Like in what car? Like the Dot 2?
The newest 992, like their new body style. They're not doing a frunk and the RSs.
Yeah, I know that. I can see from the photos. Like that's why I said it looks like an RSR, because those NACA ducts go all the way down. Yeah, I get that. But I'm saying like no one's talking about the box flares on it either. It's just like the RSR. If you look at the car, the front has box flares that are wider and the rear does too, just like the RSR car. So I don't know where I was going with this is, do you think it's just this to throw people off and then they're going to come out with a smoother body or whatever it is? Or is this pretty close to what we're going to see for a GT3RS?
I think it's going to be a sweet looking GT3RS.
Because if this is it, that's awesome. Because this is the closest thing you can buy. I mean, I know it was before, but like literally it's almost like the makeup of a a RSR factory car
They're
on the
road,
street.
They're road testing their race car just because they're not having a race season.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to need you guys to do this, and we're going to need you to report back with this.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but I mean, it's growing on me because that wing actually goes with all of the other stuff. It goes with the box flares. Yeah. It goes with the huge knockaducks in the front because it looks like the RSR car. Now, speaking of that, let's talk a little bit about the wing. I think the GT3 swan neck looks very strange because it's a lot shorter.
Yeah.
Unlike the GT3RS one, supposedly the one at Spied, it's the full on, it's the big one, like the Cup car.
Yeah, big boy.
Yeah. So that one actually, as gaudy as people may think it sounds, like it makes sense with that car because the body matches that wing. I feel like the one on the GT3 looks out of place because the body it's a shorter deck. It just looks strange. It looks very like compact back there.
Just new.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It just doesn't look right to me, I guess, because there's a lot going on in a short amount of space is what it looks like. There's not enough space there to like space it out like aesthetically to the eye, in my opinion.
Do you think they should have just carried on with the regular wing?
I mean, I think maybe the GT3 should just get the regular wing, but I'm okay with the swan neck for the RSR car. I mean, I'm calling it the RSR already, the GT3RS. I think it looks like an RSR car. I mean, it may be. Who knows? It might be getting fooled. And either way, it doesn't matter.
GT2RS.
I mean, I guess hopefully sooner than later we'll get a reveal on this, an actual thing. And because I know the people that are, fortunate enough to have the funding are probably chomping at the bit to try to get an allocation for one of these things and start speccing it and all that kind of stuff. Once that starts, I think it'll be interesting.
Well, we've seen spy shots. It was a GT3 with like the fake ducks, and then we see this one, which, like, you're right, the box flares and the whole.
It looks like a mini RSR car, essentially. Just probably a few millimeters shorter on each side and a little less, of all the hardcore stuff on it. It has a back windscreen, unlike the blacked out RSR where there's nothing in the back. But yeah, I think it looks pretty good. Again, on the flip side of that, I don't know how I feel about the GT3 yet. I think that one's doesn't look as good as the GT3RS.
I think it might change when you see it in person.
Of course, I'm sure. I'm
all one color, that type of thing.
Yeah. I'm not saying the car's ugly. I'm just saying I like the other one better.
You like the more aggressive.
Yeah, imagine that, right? But yeah, I think it's interesting to see that out there running around.
So do you think that one's got like a 5-liter in it?
No.
Got a bigger motor, more liters, more horsepower.
I don't see how it's possible. But no, I don't think it's going to be a 5-liter. Yeah, I think it'll still be a 4-liter. But again, we've talked about it and beat it to death. These will be the last naturally aspirated GT cars, I believe, moving forward. I think you hit the nail on the head. I want to say a few podcasts ago when you talked about it. And I think there'll be a hybrid GT3. I don't think
the box flares are for.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be it'll never be a boosted car or any of that kind of stuff. It'll still be naturally aspirated. It'll be a smaller displacement with an electric motor assist probably on it is what it'll be. They're probably just working behind the scenes to figure out how to make it all of that hybrid technology as light as possible.
I can't imagine the downforce.
No, it's probably ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, but that's all I have.
Yeah.
Do you have anything?
Box flares. They're awesome.
Bringing them back.
Right. Bringing it back.
It's always lived on the track. They're just bringing it back to the street.
Yeah, lovable it is. Somebody will find out.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited to see it. But yeah, I don't have anything else. I think we talked about everything we need to talk about. And we move on to the next one, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so we see you guys in the next one.
Yep.
All right, see ya.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of P-Car Talk. Connect with us on Instagram at P-Car Talk or online at pcartalk.com.